Hello YouTube! Welcome back to Folk Friend, your one-stop shop for Celtic backing guitar tutorials. My name is Nye. You are in the brand new, larger and vastly improved Finale Guitar Shop in Sheffield. Do pop in if you're in the area. We're open every day except Wednesday 10 till 5. Sorry it's been rather a long break since I last made a video. I've been very busy doing all the DIY, filling out the stock, doing all the good stuff that's required to make a guitar shop get bigger. I finally finished now, so I will be back to trying to make a video once a fortnight over the next couple of months. I'm not sure whether I'll always be able to keep the upload schedule because I am exceedingly busy, but I'll do my best. Before we get into this video, if you could do me a massive favour, if this is helpful to you, do hit the little like button, hit the subscribe as well, hit the little bell next to it, and then you'll be told when I get around to putting up more free Irish guitar tutorials. If you could leave me a comment while you're there as well, I'd love to know anything about who you are, where you're playing, anything you'd like me to make videos about. Always nice to hear from people. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let's get into the video. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about chord inversions. These are a really interesting topic. I've recently finished a book about them as well, which shows you loads of different ways that you can use some really handy shapes in order to memorise all the places you can find certain chords all across the fretboard, not just playing down here all the time. Also how you can use those to find loads more interesting jazzy chord voicings, or to find other places to play chords that you already use a lot, just for a bit of variation in your playing. It also covers stuff for people like songwriters and jazz players as well that want to do things like move their chord shapes up higher so that they can play solos over the top of them while fitting in chords as well. But it's a very broadly applicable topic, and so I'm going to try and make a couple of videos about it for folk players and how they can use these shapes as well for folk backing, which is really fun. Just to start out with, let's have a little look at the Cliffs of Moher. I'm going to use a really simple chord progression as my base for this. I'll show you the chord progression along with the tune. It sounds like this. Like that. So you can see there, all I'm playing is A minor and G, and then A minor and E minor. The first time I get to E minor, I stay on it for a whole bar, because you always put chord 5 on the 7th foot tap. And the second time I get to E minor, I go from E minor straight back to A minor, and that makes the section sound finished. So that's a real simple progression. I've covered why things like that work absolutely loads in my previous videos. Check out the chord finding videos on the folkfriend.co.uk website, all free if you want to know more about that. If you look at the chords in that progression, I'm using these big blocky bar chords, and you can kind of picture the notes within a chord. It's like a big stack of notes, and when you move to the next chord, it's like all of those notes, if you join the dots with the notes within the next chord, it kind of creates a pile of little melodies of its own. Now if we think of the notes within my bar chord here, we've got 6 notes there, and if each of those is joined to its nearest note in the next chord, then that's 6 little melodies that are all going down. You know, this one is going down to that one, that one's going down to that one, that one's going down to that one, that one's going down to that one, and so on and so forth. The way we're going to get round that is we're going to invert the G major chord. So within a G major chord, you've got a root, a third, and a fifth, which is G, B, and D. And if I pile them so the root is not at the bottom, then I'll get an inversion of a G major chord. So it's still functionally G major, but it sounds nicer in this context. So here's my G major. I'm going to find the major third, which is always 4 frets up from the root note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go, that's my major third. In this case it's B. And then I'm going to let my middle finger sit on that note and gently mute the A string. I'm going to put my index finger on the D string 2 frets lower than my middle finger. So in this context it's on the 5th fret. I've got my ring finger on the 7th next door, and then my little finger on the 8th on the B string, and that gives me this handy shape, which is the first inversion of a G chord, otherwise written as G over B, written like a little fraction. So if you listen to, that was my first version, and here's my inverted, more satisfying version. Much nicer. So that is kind of sorting out the parallel lines between the A minor to the G chord. And what I was doing from that was going straight back to an A minor chord again. I could go and then back to, you know, A minor and then E minor. But I quite like the fact that I've set up this little upward movement in the bass, and I want to keep that going up to the next note, which is C. So I could choose to put in a C major chord there, but instead what I'm going to do is just play the first inversion of A minor. So if I get my A, if you remember I said a minute ago that the major third of any chord would be 4 frets above the root note, which means that the minor third is 3 frets up. So if I go 3 frets up from A minor, now I've got my middle finger on the minor third. And the shape that I played before, the first inversion of G, see it's got this little configuration here. I'm going to take that whole configuration and move that up 2 frets, and then put my C in with the middle finger. So if my middle finger were here, that would be the first inversion of A major, but because it's here, a fret lower, that's the first inversion of A minor, and that's going to sound like this. So all together there, I've got something like that. That then, because I've got this upward movement, do, do, dom, when I then jump up to my E minor, I've only skipped out 1 step in the scale. I've missed out D. I'm going straight to E minor because I have to do that because chord 5 has to be there. Something like that. So that is a much more satisfying chord progression than what I would have had before, which was that just feels like it's kind of hopping about all over the place in comparison. There's just one more little thing with this particular progression that I'd like to show you just to round off this video. It's a way you can make it slightly more interesting using some chromatic approaches as well. So where I was playing, I've got my A minor, I've got the first inversion of G, then I've got the first inversion of A minor again. After that I'm going to throw in a D minor before I get to the E minor, so that will give me a complete set of stairs walking up. Like that. That D minor shape that I'm doing, by the way, that's a sort of nice simple D minor 7 that you can do if you're in a hurry. I use that shape a lot. There you go. And then I'm going up to E minor and back to A minor. So that's notice that I have to skip out the D minor the second time through because it needs to be 5-1 on my my 8th bar of the A part, if you like, otherwise it won't sound finished. So the first one, where we've got a bit more space, I'm going to add a little chromatic link. It's going to go A minor, first inversion of G, first inversion of A minor, and then because the next chord is there for the bass note, I'm going from C up to D, I'm going to put in this little chromatic shift by just moving my index finger up 1 fret for half of the bar. Like that. So all together I get A minor, first inversion of G, first inversion of A minor, first inversion of A major, and that leads me into D minor 7, E minor. So just to finish up with, I will play you what that sounds like with the tune, and then I will leave you all to go and have some fun messing about with these for this and other tunes as well. it from me for this video. That's my very first useful application of the chord inversion shapes covered in my book. There are about 1 billion others. I will be looking forward to showing you some of those in a fortnight's time. If you would like some one-on-one lessons, do please give me a shout. Do of course check out the book, I'm very pleased with it. There's various other books of mine available as well on the Folk Friend shop. folkfriend.co.uk is the place to look for that and all my other free videos. If you've enjoyed this video as well, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. I'd love to know anything at all that you have to say. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be back soon.